LeBron has the Lakers in first place out west, but they are reportedly in the market for a shooter. Maybe LeBron can call up this old teammate, your guy, Nick, J.R. Smith. Now, J.R. is not in the league at the moment, so he's got plenty of time to hang out with Kevin Hart, my guy, and make fun of his friend, LeBron, your guy again.
There's shots that Brian didn't want you to shoot, but you shot it anyway.
For sure.
You guys have butted heads before.
Yeah, it's more about defense, though. It's never about a shot.
Is it? Like, what?
Yeah.
That's how Brian can play. What's wrong, Brian? Guess we all don't want to win. What? We play cards and you beat Brian in the hand. He just, I work hard every day. What? Cards. I work hard every day. I get up. I'm in the gym. I dedicate myself. What the are you talking about, Brian? Just say guts or no guts, man. Everything don't require a winning speech. God damn.
That's really well done. And props to Kevin Hart for being able to get JR to take his shirt off. He never does that.
JR doesn't look quite in game shape right now.
Look,
but
JR should be in the league. I'm going to defend my guy. JR should be in the league right now.
Even now, a year and a half off at this point, like that's almost 2 years or whatever it is.
Man, that shooting touch don't go anywhere. But I will say this, and I will look right into the camera and say this. JR, especially, I know you got property here in New York City. If after the buyout market, if nobody signs you, you know who would love to sign you? First things first. I love Chris Mannix. I will throw Chris Mannix out the building to sit you right there.
No, I mean, in between big 3 games, I think he'd be a
I'm not going to have you taking shots at J.R. Smith.
It's not taking shots. He's not ready to play in the NBA.
Oh, he's ready. J.R., you're ready, and you're primed to go, and you're my guy. But if you're chilling now, want to spend time with your lovely daughters, all that I understand, but we would love to have your commentary during the playoffs here on First Things First, I'm extending the invitation. I'm just letting him know.
I'll see myself out.
You could be here, too. You can just sit here. I throw you out. I'd like to have Mannix here as well.
I vote for more Kevin Hart bathtub scenarios with athletes. It's not just
it's very,
he's very, very
great. And by the way, good to see Kevin Hart doing well.
Yes,
I saw Kevin Hart this Friday night at the Super Bowl.
Such a name dropper. Well, LeBron and I had lunch yesterday, and let me tell you what LeBron said. LeBron said,
You're lying.
you and I need to work out
I'm telling the truth. But he's doing well.
I love Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart's doing well after a very scary incident. He's
I didn't get a phone call from you, not a FaceTime.
You flew out of Miami.
That is not true.
First bird leaving Friday.
A private jet after the game.
Private jet after the game.
That.
Oh,
Delta shuttle.
Sticking with the NBA.
That's well done, Mannix.
All right, to say the 76ers have been bad on the road this season would be like saying I like a good Seinfeld reference. Massive understatement. Phillies lost 10 of their last 12 on the road, and tonight they go up against the Bucks in Milwaukee. So with rumors of discord in the locker room, with guys struggling on the court, where does that leave the Sixers? Here's Joel Embiid.
Do you feel like you have an identity at all right now?
No, we don't. Spacing is an issue. We sometimes we play fast, sometimes we play slow.
Does anybody need to stand up and call somebody out?
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff going on in our locker room, and we'll keep that internal. But we all know we need to be better. And we need to step it up, and it's a great opportunity to do it tomorrow.
Ooh. What do you think, Mannix, about what Horford and Embiid had to say?
A lot of thoughts. I mean, Embiid, remarkably blunt in that, do we have an identity? No. Sometimes we play fast, sometimes we play slow. And I covered Al Horford for most of last season. He didn't say anything like that about the Celtics, who were very dysfunctional during the year last year. He was very measured with his comments, so you take that into account when you hear those words from Al Horford. This is a team that I think still has the ability to get it together because of how they defend. They can put together maybe the best defensive team in the conference, can put a chokehold on people on that end of the floor. But they have no identity whatsoever offensively. Now,
and they're not going to.
But I don't disagree with you, but the hope is that the guys they acquired, Alec Burks, Glenn Robinson, who played okay in Golden State. Both these guys are pretty good perimeter shooters. Maybe they can solve some of their problems. But you have to look at it and say, all right, whose spot in the rotation are those guys taking? Are they going to play instead of Josh Richardson? Are you going to get Tybal's minutes? Because he's a good defender, too. It's tough to find a way for this team to get good enough offensively to compete with the Milwaukees, even the Bostons and Torontos in the Eastern Conference.
Isn't it time to just choose already between Embiid and Simmons?
Yes. Look, I think this season and the end result of this season, I think, is a referendum on this team. Because they can't do much this offseason. They're kind of landlocked. I think they got $120 million committed to, like, their top 5 guys. There's nothing they can do to really make this team different. So if you get beat in, like, the first round, which is not out of the realm of possibility, I think you have to break up this group, and I think Simmons would be the one to go.
Simmons would be the one to go.
I think so,
even though Embiid's the one I think that has far more
We disagree,
value.
but yeah.
No. We don't disagree on that, right? And Embiid has more value is on the trade market.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you, by the way, that if I would not trade Joel Embiid. He is in a league where everyone's going pace and space and small. If he realizes his full potential, and unlike Simmons, he's at least realized 85% of his.
Right.
Simmons is hovering around 55, 60% of his. If he realizes that final 15%, he can be a league MVP. And for, what, 90% of your games, the other team has nobody to match up with him. Nobody. There's only a few teams that have somebody that could even passably match up against him. The reason I mentioned the Embiid-Harden thing is it's just 2 of your best 8 players in basketball, both of whose teams might be like, you know what I mean? How can we get fair value and how can we switch things up? But to the bigger picture here, there's one name you didn't mention that I think should be mentioned, and it's Brett Brown. I was talking with our great statistician, Dusty's a Sixers fan, and he made this point before the show, and I think it's a smart one, and I'd love to steal it from him, but it's his, so I'll give him credit. We were talking about the Heat. If you flip-flop Brett Brown and Eric Spoelstra, what do the Heat look like, and more importantly, what do the Sixers look like with I think Eric Spoelstra is a great coach. I think he's one of the 5 best coaches in basketball. Brett did an awesome job through the process, navigating through it, not have it wear him down mentally, keeping the players when they weren't really even trying to win games engaged.
A survivor.
And by the way, sometimes you have a coach who is the right guy to get you from A to B, but that does not mean he's ready to get you from B to championship. And it would appear we have multiple playoff series where it looks like he gets outcoached against the better coaches in basketball, whether it's Nick Nurse, we saw that happen, whether it's your guy Brad Stevens in Boston, and now his inability to cut through to the team even on the defensive end. Because you said they can be one of the best defensive teams in basketball. With this lineup, with this roster, they should be the #1 defense by certainly top 2 defense along with Milwaukee, and given that the Clippers haven't had their full roster all year, they're a good defense. They should be a dominant defense. I put that on coaching, at least partially, and figure out a way to get through to your best players. Like that, Embiid and Simmons have a maturity problem. And if you can't time warp them to where they're 32 years old and know what they need to know, that's the coach's job, man. And so, like, I'll go to my guy, LeBron. He had a bit of a maturity problem his first stint in Cleveland. And guess what happened? He went to, he called it going to college, but he went to a former boot camp with Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra and became a grown-ass man. It's time for Joel Embiid and or Ben Simmons to have a similar evolution, and I'm just not seeing it. And that, to me, is about what those comments are about from Horford, who is a grown-ass man and knows what you need to be in this league.
I do think that a lot of those, the undertone of those comments, though, are directed at Simmons, because it's not the first time that these guys have said as much. I mean, Joel Embiid has kind of passive-aggressively said guys need to step out of their comfort zone, and that is directed at Ben Simmons. Brett Brown and Elton Brand have come out and said, please shoot, Ben, please. If you don't shoot in the regular season, we're not going to be successful in the playoffs. So I think that's a big issue. But to your point about Brett Brown, you're right. He has been outcoached in the playoffs. Defensively, they should be a top 2 team in the NBA. But at some point offensively, you've got to look at what the groceries are here. Like, you lose J.J. Redick in the offseason, the #2 3-point shooter in the league, and don't replace him with anyone outside of Matthias Tybal, a rookie, a defensive-minded player. What are you going to do? Ben Simmons still won't shoot. What are you going to do? Josh Richardson, not a great perimeter shooter. What are you going to do? They just don't have the pieces to be a good perimeter shooting team. And I don't care how good you are defensively. You're not a championship team if you can't make shots from the three-point line.
But yet, despite this, we had high expectations for the Sixers coming into this season. You bring in Al Horford, who's supposed to be that veteran voice in the locker room and kind of calm things down. And yet, here we are with the same problems you had last season.
Shockingly bad on the road.
And that's immaturity. And by the way, as was reported yesterday, you get annihilated by Miami. You spend the night in Miami hanging out. And again, I'm not one to criticize guys for enjoying it.
For you.
Yeah, because, like, listen. So when I was in Houston a few weeks ago, just watched the Lakers-Houston game. Lakers won that game. They had already planned, I think, to stay over in Houston. They played well. And as it turned out, I think the whole team went out together to one of Houston's night spots, right? Not one of Houston's famous night spots that is a gentleman's spot, but just a regular club. You know what? Playing well. You've earned it. You won the game. When you're the Sixers and you haven't had a good road trip all year, pre-planning, hey, guys, after the game, a party in Miami, it's just bad optics, to say the least, and it might speak to, I think, part of Horford's frustration. Because I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, I don't think Al Horford's out there, you know what I mean? Out there partying in Miami. And so it's just a lot of things with the Sixers team. They have enough raw talent that they should be after Milwaukee and the two LA teams, because I'm going to include the Clippers because everyone else is but me, it's seemingly, they should be the next team.
Yeah.
They should. If I were to tell you no team from LA or Milwaukee win the title, who wins the title going into this year, the answer should have been Philly. And right now you're looking up at the standings at Indy? At Indy?
One thing I would just say quickly is that the Sixers season ended on a basketball bouncing like 4 times on the rim from Kawhi Leonard. That ball bounces a different way. Maybe the Sixers are in the finals. And because of that, they broke up that team. They let Jimmy Butler walk. They let J.J. Redick walk. They brought in Al Horford ostensibly to compete with Milwaukee because of their size. That's something I think that Elton Brand and the front office has to answer for. They broke up a good team based on a bouncing ball on the rim that would have cost them the game.
Sliding doors, it's what we always say. All right, let's take a break. Coming up, is Tom Brady's only chance of winning